Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to go ahead and do my ranking for all 13 movies in the Halloween franchise. So, last year when Halloween Kills came out, I decided not to do a ranking because I wanted to wait till Halloween Ends came out and come up with a fair ranking then. That way also I would know where I would rank Kills for sure and everything. And I've rewatched Ends twice, so I know where it sits as well, so I'm going to go ahead and get going. Coming in at number 13 is Halloween Resurrection. This is the 8th movie in the franchise, and it's the follow-up to H2O. I absolutely hate this movie. The beginning of it is one of the worst beginnings in horror history. I just hate the way that this movie opens with them killing Laurie off in the 15 minutes of it, and then the rest of the movie being set in the Myers house and them doing a web show and stuff just makes it feel really dated and everything. And even though I have started getting a lot of nostalgia for the early 2000s, this movie has not been one of the ones that has really made me want to go back there, if that makes sense. But Resurrection it had a cool concept, and I think if they wouldn't have killed Laurie off at the beginning of it and just let this be a standalone sequel that ignores the other ones or whatever, it might have been at least somewhat better. But even then, I don't think it would have been. It's just not very well written. It's got some terrible characters, and it just isn't very good. So Halloween Resurrection is number 13, and number 12 is Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Now, I've only seen the theatrical version of this. I haven't seen the producer's cut yet. That's something I'm actually going to be trying to do here before too long, is watch it. But this one isn't super terrible. I actually think it's kind of enjoyable. It has some pretty cool kills, some brutal kills too. Michael is pretty brutal in this one, and everything. It's just the story for the whole Cult of Thorn thing just isn't my cup of tea in this movie. It just could have been worse, could have been better. And my biggest problem with it is them recasting Danielle Harris and everything. She was perfect as Jamie Lloyd, and there was no need to recast her. I hate the way that they did her and everything. And this movie could have been worse, could have been better, but for what it is, it's all right. So Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers is number 12, and number 11 is Halloween H2O. I really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I know the ending of it leads right into Resurrection and stuff, and that is one of the reasons why it's dropped so low on this list. Like, when I very first saw it, it would have been a lot higher if it wasn't for the way Resurrection immediately destroyed the ending of this, because this would have been a perfect ending to the Halloween franchise at the time if it would have been, but they had to make Resurrection and kind of ruin the ending of this one and everything. But that being said, up until before that ending, I actually really enjoyed this movie for the most part. I think Jamie Lee Curtis is still really good in here, and I love the different type of portrayal of PTSD we get in this movie compared to what we got in the 2018 version. And I think Josh Hartnett was pretty good as her son, and Michelle Williams as his girlfriend was great. It's not like one of her best performances. She's gone on to become one of the best actresses, but she's still really great in here. I love Michelle Williams and everything. And this movie, I just thought was fun. It's not the best Halloween movie, but it's the Halloween Halloween of the Scream era, and it still has some of that Scream vibes that make it fun too. So it's not the best in the franchise by any means, but it's definitely not the worst either, and it's pretty good. From this one up, I like all of them and everything. So Halloween H2O is number 11, and number 10 is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. This one doesn't even really fully belong into the Halloween franchise. It's an anthology film and everything, although I think that it's gaining a cult following. I wouldn't be surprised if we ever end up getting a sequel or a remake of this one and they just call it Season of the Witch If they do, I wouldn't mind seeing what they would do with either a modern version or a sequel or whatever. But I hope they do a sequel though, and they bring back Tom Atkins and stuff. He was really great in this movie, and I really enjoyed the story in here. I like the dark concept of the Halloween masks killing all the kids and stuff throughout America and stuff. I just thought that was an interesting story and everything, and it's a fun little standalone movie. So Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is number 10, and number 9 is Halloween 5 The Revenge of Michael Myers. I am kind of mixed on this movie. I've always felt this movie is very underrated and everything, but I don't think that it's one of my most favorite movies in the franchise either. I've always enjoyed it. Part of it is because of the performance of Danielle Harris as Jamie Lloyd in this movie. She's just great in here, and I do think that this one is pretty good though, and everything. I just wish that they would have followed through with the concept that they ended Halloween 4 off with Jamie becoming the killer and stuff. I think that would have just made the move, took the franchise in a whole new different direction, and I would have loved to see what they would have done with it and everything. But for what it is, I think it's a pretty good sequel and everything. It's not near as bad as some people like to claim it is. It's not near as bad as Resurrection or Curse of Michael Myers for sure, but so I enjoy it quite a bit and everything. So Halloween 5 The Revenge of Michael Myers is number 9, and number 8 is Halloween 2 from 1981, the original Halloween 2. I really like this one too. This is actually one of my favorite sequels in the franchise, and pretty much from here up are all the ones that I absolutely love. And I really love Halloween 2. I think it's a really great continuation of the first movie. The cinematography fits in with it so well. The story goes well with it. And the only thing I don't like is them trying to kill Michael at the end of it and everything, which I know why they did and what they were going for with it. But I kind of wish they wouldn't have done that because of the way the rest of the series turned out and stuff. But for what it is, I think Halloween 2 is pretty good. So it's number 8, and number 7 is Halloween 4 The Return of Michael Myers. I absolutely love this one. The only thing I don't like is his mask is really bad in this one. It's not very good in the 5th one either, but if I remember right, this one has the worst mask out of all of them. But I enjoyed Halloween 4 The Return of Michael Myers quite a bit. I think it had a really good story and everything. It was a good continuation of the first 2 movies without Jamie Lee Curtis and everything. If you're going to do it without her, I think this is the best way they could have done it, by giving her character a daughter and stuff. It worked, and Jamie Lloyd is one of my favorite characters in the franchise and everything. I just absolutely love her, and I love Rachel. I think she's a really great character, one of the best final girls in the franchise. So I absolutely love this one and everything. I need to rewatch it because I haven't rewatched it this year, but I really enjoyed this one quite a bit. So Halloween 4 The Return of Michael Myers is number 7, and number 6 is Halloween 2018. I thought this was a really great way to bring the franchise back, and when I heard they were going to be doing a new Halloween movie with Jamie Lee Curtis, I was kind of like, this could be really cool or it could suck. It's hard to say and everything. And then I started seeing the trailers and thought it looked amazing, and went in totally surprised at how much I liked it. The only thing I didn't like was I felt like some of the humor fell a little flat at times. There were a few jokes in there that just weren't as funny, but this movie was really great, and it was a great way to bring back the franchise and bring it back into popularity. Unfortunately, these 2 sequels that have came out after it have been getting mixed responses, and they haven't even made it onto this list yet, so you know that I love them as well. But this one is really great, and I think it was a really great start to David Gordon Green's trilogy. So Halloween 2018 is number 6, and number 5 is Halloween Ends, the newest movie in the Halloween franchise. It made number 5 on here. I really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I know it's been getting a lot of divisive thoughts from fans. I've seen fans that are like me that appreciate the risks it took, and then there's people like there's people that are completely opposite of me that absolutely hated this movie, and then there's some they're kind of in the middle on it and everything. I haven't really seen it where it's just a lot of love or a lot of hate or a lot of mix. It's a little bit of everything and everything. But this movie, I think, does some really risky things, and for the most part, I think it pays off. There is one thing with a character named Corey Cunningham that I feel like they could have done some stuff different with that character, just tweaked up a little bit of stuff, added a little bit more Michael Myers, and I think this movie would have been even better. But for what we got and for the ending we got for Laurie Strode, I think it's actually a really satisfying ending for this part of the franchise. We know it's not going to end, but we're going to get more Halloween movies at some point. I almost said Friday the 13th, which hopefully that'll be next. But yeah, I really enjoyed Halloween Ends. I think it's a really great addition to this franchise, and if this is the last Halloween we get and everything, I'd be okay with it, I think, because although, like I said, I do hope we get more, because you can never have too much Halloween. But Halloween Ends is number 5, and number 4 is Halloween Kills. This is the one that came out last year, and it divided the fans too. A lot of people were mixed on it and everything. I personally love this movie. I do get the Evil Dies Tonight thing, is they go a little bit over the top with it, and I don't like that they had the town chasing after a guy that looked like Danny DeVito as the Penguin, instead of just chasing someone that actually looked like they could have been Michael Myers. I do understand the criticisms of that, and I do agree that I don't like that, but the rest of it I love. I love the story for the most part. Like I said, the whole getting the town together to go after Michael was a pretty cool concept. I think it could have been executed better, but I thought it was a good concept. I loved the stuff with Laurie and Hawkins in the hospital, and before she finds out that Michael is still alive, you start to see that relief side of her, and see the version we'll eventually get in Halloween Ends and everything. I love that side of Laurie and stuff, and I love that the kills in this movie. It had the most brutal kills in the whole trilogy, and the best kills in the whole trilogy for sure. I don't even know what my favorite one is. Probably the older couple, when he kills the man and he like keeps stabbing him over and over again in front of his wife, and we don't see her die and everything, but we see him stabbing him with all these different knives, like he's testing out the knives and stuff and looking at a piece of art that he's working on. It's just really cool scene. But there's a lot of really great kills in this movie. I love like how many nods there are to the original Michael Myers in this movie. Like, you see like the way he acted in that one, you see it in this one as well too, and it's a really great one and everything. So Halloween Kills is number 4, and number 3 is Rob Zombie's Halloween. This is where my list gets controversial, because this one and my number 2 spot are movies that people tend to love to hate on. And I've always enjoyed this one quite a bit. In fact, this was my introduction to the Halloween franchise. I saw it when it first came out on DVD. I watched it with a friend, and really enjoyed it. Didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, to be honest with you. Because I hadn't seen the original at that time. I wasn't really into horror movies quite yet. But this was one of the ones that I did see when it first came out, because everybody was making a big deal about it, and my friends really liked this one when it first came out. So I ended up watching it with her, and I absolutely love it. I think it's really good. It does go a little bit over the top with the white trashiness at the beginning of it, and it could have been scaled down a little bit, but I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Michael Myers backstory. He didn't necessarily have to have a backstory. In fact, I prefer it when he doesn't have one, and I do like that about him in the other, or in the original movie. And the new timeline is he doesn't have a backstory or anything like that. He's just evil because he's evil, and I prefer that part of Michael Myers, but I think that this version was still pretty good, and Tyler May did a really excellent job as Michael, and Scout Taylor Compton was really good as Laurie and everything. I think she was even better in the second one, but she was really good in this one too. So Rob Zombie's Halloween is number 3, and number 2 is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now I'm guessing y'all are getting ready to sharpen your pitchforks because this is the most hated Halloween movie. I don't think it's even close to as bad as everyone says it is. Does it feel like your typical Halloween movie? No, but like what I said when I talked about Halloween Ends, this movie took a lot of risks, and it feels more like a Rob Zombie movie, which if you like his style and his movies, you might like it. He has a distinct style that's love it or hate it and everything. I tend to like most of his movies, or at least, and some of them I even love, like Devil's Rejects and this one and the first Halloween. Personally, I love all 3 of those movies that he did, and I think this is a really good one. And I love the portrayal of Laurie and stuff in this movie, and like her PTSD and how realistic it is. Like someone who suffers from PTSD, I can say that I can relate to a lot of stuff she goes through, except for the not being very nice. She's not a very friendly person throughout most of the movie, which that part I've seen happen with people that have PTSD too. It depends on the person. I'm not like that, but I enjoyed Scout Taylor Compton's performance, and Brad Dourif and her both give really great performances. When Danielle Harris's character Annie dies, they both gave Oscar-worthy performances to me, which you don't get very often in horror movies. There's not very many that I would say are Oscar-worthy, but that's one of the ones that I would say that both of them deserved Oscars for. And I absolutely love Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, so it's a very high number 2. And coming in at number 1 is John Carpenter's Halloween from 1978, the original movie in the franchise. I just absolutely love this movie. There's not anything about this movie that I could say that hasn't been said before by anybody who loves the Halloween franchise. It's a masterpiece. It's one of the greatest slasher movies of all time, and it's still easily my favorite movie in the franchise for sure. It's just a great movie. Jamie Lee Curtis is amazing here. All of the rest of the cast are great. You got some of the most memorable kills are in here because this is the first movie, of course. My favorite being the Bob kill when he stabs him and has him hang into the wall, and he's like tilting his head and stuff, looking at it like he just created a really great piece of art. I love it, and it's just really, really great movie, and easily my number 1. So anyway, let me know in the comments how you would rank the Halloween franchise. If you want, tell me your favorite and least favorite if you don't want to do a full ranking. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.
Yeah!